designing, storyboarding, voice acting, key posing, in-betweening, cleaning up, color slapping, compositing.
For, roughly thousands of shots, so it's kind of a lot.
Compositing is where you take everything done by the other artists and animators, characters, backgrounds, effects, etc., and you make it look cohesive. Everything should look like it belongs in the same scene. This includes, but is not limited to, adding the effects of a light source where there is a light source. In a daytime scene, the viewer should be able to tell that it's daytime because everything is lit up by like the sun. In a nighttime scene, everything looks darker, moodier. Maybe there's a light source during nighttime. If you are on the compositing team, it's your job to make sure you put the shadows on the character in a way which is consistent with that light source. This should also take into account style. Invincible has an economic compositing style compared to something like, say, Castlevania. The skilled teams who work on these shows make the choices they make based on many different factors. The time, size of the team, the budget, the choices made by the director. These are the leading factors. If you prefer this style over this, don't go on the internet and call the other animators lazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Different approaches, different factors, preferences. My approach as a director leans into highly stylized, dramatic-ass lighting. This is what this Invincible scene originally looked like. Very good scene. Then I came in and I ruined it. I put an unseen light source over here. The light isn't very strong, so it's leaving the rest of the room drenched in shadow. Oh, and what's this? A blue light. Strong enough to achieve this rim light effect, but not strong enough to light up the area the characters are standing in. Lighting like this makes things a wee bit dramatic. Don't spam it like I do though, cause it can look overdone. The rest of the video is going to be a tutorial on how I composited the cuts in my last video. Okay, with this scene, the first thing I did was create a global shadow layer. Put the opacity to about 50%, and I just put it all over here. Mark's face has a shape, so as much as I'd like to just leave the lighting diagonal like this, for this cut specifically, I wanted it to look a bit volumetric, so the shadow over his face is actually shaped to his face. Next, animation layer, global lighting. There's a light source in the room we can't see, but it's there, so we just put its effect overhead and turn the opacity way down. There's a red light coming from this direction, strong enough to leave this rim light effect, but not strong enough to change the direction of the shadow being cast by the main light source. Normally, you wouldn't be able to see its glow like this, but the style is make everything look dramatic. So, light on the glasses, his hair, his face. But wait, there's more! If you've ever been in a room that has blue walls, if you look closely, everything in the room has a subtle blue tint, because the light is bouncing around the room and onto the objects in that room. We use that same principle to make this side of the scene red. And because the floors are blue and blue is complementary to red, the side of the screen is blue. Then we bring the opacity way down. It doesn't look like much, but it does make a difference. It makes everything under that layer look like it's in the same environment. Normally, things have very different colors, but this is animation, this isn't real life. You'll notice this in backgrounds, particularly when it comes to anime. They will pick a hue and everything in the background or the environment will kind of follow that hue for uniformity. Normally, you just put this rim light effect in After Effects because the characters are on a separate layer. But because I'm not on the Invincible compositing team, I do not have access to all these elements on individual layers. That means I'm effectively drawing on screenshots, i.e., one layer. And because these are finished scenes, there is camera movement. So even in still frames, when there's camera movement, I have to redraw all the lighting or copy it to the next layer and tweak it a little bit. That's it. This video is for edutainment purposes only. I am not a teacher. I am just communicating to you what I understand about these concepts in the most YouTube video friendly way I can. So you'll find some of these things are approached differently when you're actually on the job. I have a manga over here. We're trying to make an anime adaptation over here. There's a Patreon over here. I trust you know what to do next. Bye.